Hi, this is Hank Friedman of soulhealing.com. Please feel free to visit my website to see other tutorials in astrology, astrology software, and more. This is my third astrology software tutorial. Today I'm focusing on StarTrax Millennium 7.0 from AIR Software. StarTrax Millennium is a unique program with many predictive techniques not found anywhere else. And one of the most powerful ones is what might be called a cumulative predictive graph. To start off with, you run a chart and then click on Techniques. A new menu will pop up. Go to the Dynamic Astrology choice and then choose Standard Scheme. A window will pop up which gives you the core of the dynamic astrology setup. Let's just calculate it so I can show you what the results are. What you get is a graph with positive transits in green above the line and challenging transits in red below the line for whatever time period you specify, for whatever planets you specify, and for whatever aspects you specify, and for whatever techniques you specify. Let's go into a little detail. You use the T-min, which means time minimum, to give you the starting time. This window you can specify for any year. I can change it to a year earlier, for instance, very easily, and click OK. Now if I calculate, the graph will cover a much longer time period. Tmax is, of course, the ending date. The arsenal is the set of techniques you use. Right now it's only set to use simple transits, and you can choose the planets involved. For example, use what planets, turn off what planets, okay? And you can also choose whether you want just the transit to natal or transit to transit events. And that's true for any of these. You can use converse transits, progressions, tertiary progressions, minor progressions, directions, perfections, solar arcs, and on. Solar returns, lunar returns, other planetary returns, new moons, and so on. So you have a huge range of astrological techniques to use, and you can specify which planets to focus on for each technique. You can then assign a weight, and this is a very important thing. You can assign a weight to each natal planet, like you want transits to the sun to be more important, transits to the moon to be less important, and to each transiting body. So for instance, we wouldn't want the sun transits to be nearly as strong, for instance, as, let's say, transits by Pluto. You might give a higher number to Pluto because Pluto transits are more impactful. You can also give different weights, positive or negative, to the aspects. So conjunctions, they gave a weight of 2. But then they said you can also select which conjunctions are negative, like Mars and Saturn and Pluto conjunctions are more challenging. So they're going to show up below the line according to this weighting scheme. You wouldn't have to do that. You could leave them as positive or negative depending on what you decide. The minus, like for the square right there, the -1, shows you that you're giving a square as a below the line challenging transit, and an opposition as a below the line challenging transit. And again, you can specify the weight for each of the minor aspects as well as the major aspects. To go further, once you have a graph calculated like that, you can point the cursor to any peak, for instance, click on it, and it will show you the aspects that are forming during that period and what their orbs are. So you can see all the events that are happening. You can also, of course, at the top of the screen, point to it and see the exact date. Right up there, August 31st, 2009, would be a more challenging time. In addition, you can save the image. You can choose the size, you can save it as a file to the clipboard, or print it. You can also print it over here with a printer button. Finally, one more thing for the time being is the profile chart. Let me move that down so you can see it. The profile chart shows you for this whole time period, for each natal planet, when it will be positive and negative. So here's the periods for Saturn. And again, at any period you can see what is going on. Now let's say, for instance, you want to expand it. You want to focus on that period. You click here and it stretches things. So you can hone in on a particular area. You can go back out this way, or this will reset it to the original shape. The dynamic graph is a wonderful tool in astrology software. You can customize it in all the ways I said and more, and it's an incredibly valuable tool. Thank you.